Today we have a hand featuring two absolute master blasters. We have Rampage Poker, who you all know. He gets in there, he battles hard. Sometimes he has the nuts, sometimes he has nothing. Usually he has nothing. Today, he's gonna be battling it out against Wesley, the crypto overlord, the liquidator. Today, Wesley is going to try to liquidate all of Rampage's chips.
This is a $188,000 pot.
Twice. Okay.
See the emotion on his face. You know that feeling of being in the biggest pot of your life.
Like, I don't care what you have, bro.
Let's get right to it.
So Wesley opens it up. Ali G and Rampage call.
The action starts off tamely enough. Wesley raises it up with 10-9 of spades, which is perfectly fine and standard. Ali G calls with the ace-10 offsuit. Maybe you want to 3-bet it, maybe you want to call, whatever. And then Rampage opts to call as well with pocket eights in the straddle. Let's go to the flop.
Ooh boy.
Nice job.
Oh wow, what a flop. Middle set for Rampage. Top pair and a flush draw for Wesley. Top pair, top kicker for Ali G.
The flop comes 10-8-3 with two spades, giving Ali G top pair, top kicker. It's a pretty good hand. Giving Wesley top pair with a flush draw, which is a really good hand, and giving Rampage a set. 3 eights. 8-8-8. Eights are great. What an action board. They check around to Wesley, who puts in a pot-sized bet, which is a pretty big bet, normally on a connected board in a multi-way pot, but I don't really mind using bigger bets when you are playing relatively deep in this scenario. He's playing something like $89,000 deep with Rampage, and the pot's only $2,000. So in that scenario, you can certainly justify using some bigger bets, and I think Wesley's hand is a pretty reasonable hand to go for a big bet with. Let's see how Ali responds with his top pair, top kicker.
Everybody's got something. And Wesley bets pot. 2,000 into 1,900. He and Rampage are so deep. And Ali G's about to put some money in here too. And it's a raise.
7.
Ali's in a neat spot because he is only playing $25,000 deep in the scenario. So he has to figure out, is his top pair, top kicker good enough to just raise and get all the money in against Wesley? And he does put in the raise. And I don't really mind the raise because if you all have ever seen Wesley play, he gets in there, he battles pretty hard. Top pair, top kicker in the scenario is a hand you definitely just want to get a lot of money in with. And if Ali does raise, as he did, and then Rampage folded, which he's obviously not, but if Rampage folded and Wesley just rips his money in, I think Ali can be pretty happy calling it off for all the money with his top pair, top kicker against a player like Wesley. Also, you don't really want to call in the spot with top pair, top kicker because Rampage is still in the pot. He could raise and put you in a bad spot. Also, he could call with all sorts of hands that have very good equity. So I definitely like the raise to 7,000. Let's see what Rampage does.
7,000, and Rampage is loving this spot. He's thinking here about how to get the most money out of Wesley because that's the player he's deep with.
Rampage slides in just a call. He gets a little bit tricky and trappy. A lot of people think on these very coordinated boards that are very likely to change on the turn that you should always raise with your best hands because you don't want to get outdrawn. The problem, though, is that in this scenario, on the flop when it goes check, check, bet, 2,000, raise pretty big to 7,000, if you then re-raise, it kind of screams that you have a really, really good hand, right? So in this spot, what is a really good hand? It's going to be a set, two pair, or a really premium draw. And what can really get in against a set, two pair, or a premium draw? And the answer is not a lot, right? And in this scenario, you have to realize the best hands that Wesley and Ali have, for the most part, are going to be overpairs or good top pairs, right? And I think a lot of those may actually find a fold if Rampage decides to put it in a re-raise here. And Rampage obviously wants to keep the opponents in with their overpairs and their top pairs. So while a raise will protect him against various draws, and most likely someone does have a draw, it also will lose a lot of value from overpairs and top pair type hands. So I like the call. Let's see how Wesley plays it.
He calls. And now Wesley's going to raise again. 27,000.
Wesley's in a bit of a pickle because when it goes check, check, bet 2,000, raise to 7,000, cold call 7,000, what ranges do both players have? Well, I have to presume Ali has something pretty good because he put in a large chunk of his stack. And then I also have to presume Rampage has something pretty good. So what is pretty good here? I think it's going to be, in terms of made hands, really, mostly overpairs and sets. And overpairs don't make a whole lot of sense because he just called preflop, right? So he's probably going to have a lot of sets and 2 pairs or really high equity draws. Now, the interesting thing about the 10-9 suited is it beats all the draws, but it's crushed by the sets. The nice thing about Wesley's hand, though, with 10-9 is that it blocks pocket 10s and it blocks 10-8, which are very likely hands for Rampage to have in the spot. So given he is blocking those hands, I guess it's fine to put in a re-raise. I probably would have just called in Wesley's shoes because I think if you do end up getting all the money in this scenario, you're going to be against a lot of like really high equity flush draws or sets and 2 pairs. Even though there's not a lot of combinations of those, they do exist and they're obviously never going to fold. So I think the play is probably to call and try to get there, but that's not how Wesley plays. He gets in there, he battles, he wants to liquidate his opponents, and you can't do that by calling. Let's see how it goes.
And he's just going to pile in the money with a pair and a flush draw, apparently. I think Ali G can find a fold here. Both his opponents look incredibly strong. Good fold. Now, does Rampage want to just call or go for all of it here? I think Wesley is sending a pretty clear signal that he is not going to fold this hand. He shoves.
Ali makes a very good fold here with his top pair, top kicker. I think a lot of people just kind of sigh and put their money in this spot because the pot's already big. You're probably against some draws, but in this spot, he's going to be against a lot of very high equity draws and also very high equity hands that crushes ace-10. So very good job getting out of the way there. Over to Rampage. He gives it some thought and rips it all in, which I think is good. There's really no other option here because at this point, Wesley either has a made hand he's probably not going to fold once you shove because he's going to be getting very good odds, or he's going to have some sort of a draw. And if he ever folds any of the draws, that's fantastic. And so, you know, rip it in and spin the wheel. Let's see if Wesley decides to oblige.
Oh, man. Wow. Set for Rampage. Wow.
And this is a $188,000 pot.
Do you want once or once? Okay.
Once.
Man. Now here's the biggest pot I've played.
Who was I kidding? Of course Wesley spins the wheel. He calls, no problem. They're going to run it one time. Let's see if Rampage can win the biggest cash game pot he's ever played.
Hold on.
Rampage is 70% favorite.
You got
it in good, kinda, right?
You want me to buy your hand right now?
1% good?
Nope.
I don't know.
Are you sure?
One time confirmed.
I'll buy it from if you don't want it.
Big sweat for Ethan Yau.
Buy it at like 10% discount for the price. Mars will buy it too. Wait, do you want to
Brick on the turn.
I'll buy it.
Before we see if Rampage actually wins this hand, did you know that Rampage actually has content at pokercoaching.com right now? He's been studying extensively with Brock Wilson, a world-class crusher, primarily on tournaments. He still gets in the cash game streets and battles hard too. But Rampage actually just won a $10,000 buy-in tournament, and they're going to go through a bunch of hands that he played throughout that tournament on pokercoaching.com. You can actually get a big discount right now at pokercoaching.com/Brock Rampage. We'll put a link in the description below.
How much is insurance?
I could do some insurance.
You cash out your equity right now.
He'll sell it.
我想想，发
I give it 3.6.
啊，发
3.6?
What does that mean?
3.8. Ooh.
almost.
And Rampage
3.8.
holds. Top 2 for Wesley is no good. And Rampage wins a $188,000 pot in what was clearly a big spot for him. Nice hand.
I try to buy his hand.
The board breaks off. Rampage wins a $188,000 pot. That's a lot of chips. You know what I want to know? I want to know what is the largest pot you have ever won. The largest cash game pot. For me, I think it was a 200-400 game at Bellagio. I was randomly sitting up there playing 10-20 no limit. A few people came in and wanted to gamble. It was me, 2 pros, 2 gamblers, and I was very fortunate to win pocket queens against pocket nines. All in, I think we had something like 60,000 each in front of us. Maybe there's been other bigger ones. I don't know. Anyway, so I suppose my biggest pot was only 120,000 in live cash games. Rampage already crushed me. Let me know in the comments below. I'm interested to know. What's the biggest pot you ever played? Hopefully you won. Good luck. Have fun. Make the most of your opportunities. And when you get it all in, try to win the spin.